Not only does Ahmad Sauce Gardner have one of the best names in college football, he's also one of the best prospects the 2022 draft has to offer. Sauce was phenomenal in his career at Cincinnati. He didn't allow a single receiving touchdown. So let's take a look at the film together and I'll show you the versatility of Sauce Gardner's game and why in April he's going to be one of the most coveted prospects on the board. Let's go. What is going on, everybody? It's Luke here from PLAJ and we are back with another film breakdown. And this time it's Ahmad Sauce Gardner, one of the best offensive prospects in the draft. And there's a debate right now. Who is CB1? Is it Derek Stingley Jr. and the true freshman tape that he put out? Or is it the picture of consistency in Gardner and he was just fantastic throughout his entire tenure in Cincinnati? Well, let's look at the tape and be guided by that. We're going to start with man coverage. It's great to play in zone. It's a strength of Gardner's game. But in the NFL, you win 1-to-1 on the outside and that's how you get paid. He's at the top of the screen here in the college football playoffs against Alabama, and this is quintessential Gardner. Physical in press coverage, getting hands and redirecting the receiver. This is who he is. Top of your screen, I want you to watch off the snap, shoots those hands, does a really good job pressing the wide receiver, getting in a dominant position. Then what he does so well next, look at him flip these hips, really nice job. Tries to funnel him inside originally because that's where the safety help is. But then look how he flips those hips, pretty fluid for a 6'2" guy, and then redirects him and uses the boundary as an extra weapon or defender in his favor. I'll let it play at full speed and we'll get cracking here. Ahmad Gardner, great job with the press, flips the hips, pushes towards the sideline, and look how well he stays in phase. This is the strength of his game, being able to mirror, get the head back to the quarterback. It's not a target, but it's a phenomenal rep from Gardner. This is his ability in man coverage. Are there some things I'd like to see him clean up? For sure. But you definitely see it little on the tape. He can do it, especially in man press. Another example, but a little bit different this time. Let's have a look at Sauce in the slot. So I chose this rep because the one thing and the biggest weakness I see in Sauce Gardner's game is how handsy and grabby he is in man coverage. He just wants to be draped all over you. It's almost like JC Horn last year all over again, but even more so if that's even possible. So he's in the slot, second from the top of your screen, and I love this rep because he does not use his hands. He misses his press, he funnels him inside, he knows he's got inside help again, so he directs him towards the safety, but as he starts to take this outside on the stem, look how well he stays in phase. He doesn't need to use his hands. Trust your hips, trust your feet, and get in a great position. I just want you to watch this one more time at full speed. How fluid he is, how well he moves for a 190, 6'2" athlete. Stops on a dime when the receiver cuts back. You can't do man coverage any better than that, and that translates well to the NFL. But this is what I was talking about. I want to see Ahmad Gardner in the offseason doing drills with squash balls taped to his hand so he can't grab. He's at the bottom of your screen against Notre Dame in 2021. And this is a 15-yard hold. Look, I understand the receiver gets hands on him early. He's trying to push off. You see a lot of that. Ahmad Gardner does not let go of him for 15 yards down the field. And look, again, I want to reiterate this. This isn't a one-off. These aren't 2 or 3 reps that I've found and want to attack him for something very minor. This is an example of a bigger issue. And I'm not saying he can't do it. I've just showed you. He's got great feet. He's got excellent fluidity for a larger, taller, ganglier, leggy athlete. But there are times like this where he just holds far too often, and that's not going to fly in the NFL. Another example from the same game, you can see the running back being motioned out, top of your screen, number 4. Gardner comes down, he's in man coverage again. I just want you to watch, look, he wants to be physical, and that's a great thing. I like this. Within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage in college, that's fine. But just look how he just fails to let go of that outside hand on the shoulder pad. This is 10, 12 yards down the line from the line of scrimmage, and it's just a hold. And as I said, these are frequently on the tape. And he got away with a lot of this in college. And I'm not sure he will in the NFL. But it's just something to watch. I want him to trust his feet and his hips more in space. That's something Crocky, a guy who's come on the PLAJ channel before, has talked about, was an NFL caliber corner. Trusting your feet, trusting your hips, and your fluidity in space. I want to see a little bit more of that from Ahmad Gardner. And right now, that's why Derek Stingley is my CB1. Something that Sauce does incredibly well, and he's just so gifted at, is being an instinctual, reactionary football player. His ability to read and react and to diagnose is off the charts. I can't tell you how many times I saw him attempt to or break up a screen pass or a little wide receiver bubble. And this is another example of him reading, being able to shed and release, and then go and make a play. Again, college football playoffs, enormous game. You can see Williams in motion, heading towards the top of your screen. Sauce is in man coverage. He's got press, he's reading this little RPO, and then when he sees he's going to release that football, and the quarterback goes into his throwing motion, look at the reactory skills. And then the tackle out in space. I will say, he's a little bit of an ankle tackler. In this instance, it's not an issue at all. This is a fantastic play. But he can be a little leggy with his tackling. But I just can't emphasize enough how intelligent this is, how good he is at diagnosing the sport. Look at him, put his foot in the ground, go and make the play. Ahmad, that is fantastic football. Now we're starting to get into some awesome examples of Ahmad Gardner in zone coverage. It's a feature of his play. I mentioned it at the top of the video. He's at the top of the screen here in a cover 2 look, so he's responsible for press coverage. So you see him again, physical, with the receiver at the line of scrimmage, but now he's in a zone. And his responsibility is playing the flat. But what he does really well is he freezes the quarterback and doesn't let him throw the dig here to the outside receiver. He gets him in 2 minds, the quarterback. Watch how he holds onto the football. He then needs to throw it to the flat. And look at the closing speed. Something people are critical of Gardner for is that, look, he's a long athlete, he's quite leggy. So those first few steps, he doesn't cover a whole lot of ground. And I get that, and I kind of agree with it. But he has enough closing speed, again, makes a good tackle, and it's a good read and react. Diagnosing plays. That's what you want to see from a corner in zone. See it and then go and make that play. Another really good example of doing just that. Another great example of Ahmad Gardner in zone coverage, and he's on the numbers here on the bottom of your screen. Number 1, I want you to watch the depth he gets. Even though this is kind of a traditional cover 3 look and he's responsible for a flat again, he gets more than enough depth to take that receiver away. He knows the quarterback's rolling out towards his side of the field, eyes in the backfield, butt to the sideline. Look at the depth he gets. He takes that receiver out of the play. And from there is just nothing on. He squeezes him to the sideline. Quarterback tries to fiddle him, but that ball's not being caught. Ahmad Gardner, great feel, great instincts, just a cerebral play in zone. He's almost got eyes on the back of his head. He can watch the quarterback, but he also has that innate feel of where the receiver is too. And an awesome play to finish, just showcasing the athleticism, some of the burst and speed. But this was a real threat. Again, not a one-off play. I saw this 3 or 4 times. Bit of a corner blitz. If he was drafted by the Jets, you know Ulbrich likes to bring this kind of pressure. Top of the screen, just watch him come screaming in on the blitz. Hides it really well, doesn't give away that he's not in man coverage or in a zone on that outside. Look at him just take off from the blind side and attack the football. He's a playmaker. Had lots of interceptions in college. He understands how to make plays, and that's key for a corner. You need to turn the football over to win in today's NFL. Ahmad Gardner is going to help you do that. He is good in every facet of the game, and I love his film. So guys, that is Sauce Gardner. These corner reviews can be tricky to do sometimes because you're trying to fit a 3 or 4 year career and all these facets of their game into a 10-minute video, but I wanted to give you an idea of his strengths, playing in zone coverage, reading, reacting, being cerebral. His man coverage skills are there, and he has the ability to be fantastic, and he was fantastic. But I was a little bit worried about the holding and the grabbing. You could see Derek Stingley playing man coverage with his hands behind his back. Ahmad Gardner needs his hands, and that's great when you're pressing, and I love that physicality at the line of scrimmage. But be a little careful. You don't want to be grabbing on the stem and trying to redirect 10 yards down the field. You don't need unnecessary illegal contact flags. But all in all, Ahmad Gardner, Sauce, incredibly impressive prospect and incredibly impressive film. If the Jets take him at 10, I'm over the moon. I think that's a fantastic pick. But I wouldn't even be shocked if they took him at 4, and I know that sounds outrageous. But in a situation where Thibodeau, Hutchinson, Aquanu are all off the board, I don't want Hamilton there. He doesn't have the positional value. I don't think I really want Evan Neal. He's not a great scheme fit. Maybe Sauce is that guy. Like, subscribe, appreciate you watching. Keep your eyes on the channel. This is Luke from Play Like a Jet, and I'll see you next time.